the immigration debate. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage has spoken this morning about his party's proposals to tackle the rising numbers of people coming here illegally, including plans to deport all illegal arrivals within a month. It's an issue people feel incredibly passionate about on all sides, but with more than 200 people crossing the Channel on boats on Sunday alone, it's clearly a very, very difficult one to try to fix. Is it even fixable? Janet, at this point, it feels like there are lots of headlines being whipped up constantly, but then they never quite follow through.
I know, and also the Labour government is, every time there's a headline, they kind of react in a way which makes me think it's all policy done on the hoof, done on the run. I mean, Nigel Farage says that illegal people who arrive here illegally are going to be deported within 24 hours. Well, how? To where? And how is that going to be assessed? When so many of these people arriving on boats have destroyed their ID, they've deliberately destroyed any, anything that would help identify where they've come from and whether they've got a true right to be here or not. And I also think that he cites a country like Germany, which has managed to deport some illegal immigrants by focusing on ones with criminal records. They have only managed to deport 81 people back to Afghanistan. And given that at the moment 28,000 people have arrived here on boats so far this year, and that's 43% up on last year, you've got a feeling that, yes, it's happening and nothing anybody's saying is making any difference. A couple of days ago, Yvette Cooper announced that she was setting up new panels to do emergency assessments on the people who've appealed against deportation, and there's 50,000 of them. Currently, they're here. We don't know whether they should be here or not, but they've initially been denied residence, and now the lawyers have come into play and they're appealing. So Yvette Cooper's panels will take months to go into action. Mm-hmm. So that, to me, seems like another quick fix.
But you see, on that very point, maybe it's a naive thing within me, but I question why that assessment isn't done as people come into the country. Yes, you say they've destroyed passports, but eventually this assessment has to be done somewhere, at some time.
But Nigel Farage is saying today that everybody who arrives should be taken to military bases that he promises will be repurposed and rebuilt within a couple of years when he's Prime Minister to accommodate, 25,000 people. And that is where they will be processed, not in hotels. I think that would play quite well with the vast number of the British public who are increasingly disgruntled about people being in hotels.
My only concern... Sorry.
No. I was just going to say that's sort of the political sort of chat about it, but when it comes to the emotions, isn't it? Because there's a lot of rage and fear.
My concern is like Nigel Farage is sort of stoking up people that have racist views. That's my only concern.
It's what a lot of people want to hear, though. That's the point.
Glow, I find that quite difficult to take on board. There are two sides to this argument. There are people with genuine concerns about immigration, and of which I support, because, for example, I care for people with disabilities, and they're in terms of social services, there have been lots of cutbacks in terms of being able to get the support that they need, and they are legal people that live here and have a right to remain here. Whereas we see, a lot of the anger is stoked up by people saying, look, I need this, I don't have a roof over my head, and these people have been given a hotel room to stay in and are being supported financially. And I get that anger, because you're living with that very real situation. But what I don't approve of and what I find disgraceful is the stoking up of racism. I was out this weekend and there were, red crosses painted on a zebra crossing. And it's like, one, it's triggering. Two, I have to raise my children in an environment that I don't feel very comfortable in. There was unrest in Liverpool over the weekend, and that was very unsettling for them. And now I'm having to repeat history. We did this in the 70s, we did this in the 80s, and here we are doing it in 2025. Enough's enough.
But I also think, though, Kelly, you have to accept that the summer months, August in particular, and the hotter months of the summer are traditionally in this country when you see the most civil unrest. You see rioters, you see looting. In the past, we've had arson. It's a month when people who shouldn't take advantage of social unrest and deprivation, like you say, people who haven't got houses, people who can't get on the housing list, people who can't get NHS treatment they want, there is a level of disgruntlement, which I agree with you, has risen, and August is traditionally the month when people from the far right take advantage of that.
Well,
can I quickly
when the Southport incident happened, it wasn't August, and there was still unrest. So I don't necessarily think I get that it's August and it's sunny and people are a bit out, but if people have umbrage with the situation, they're going to come out whatever the weather.
Look, there are many different scenarios in terms of this whole subject. And I met one girl recently and she said, look, I was born and bred in England. I live in atrocious conditions. The water's running down the walls. Exactly. My children are not feeling very well because of everything that happened with the spores. And she said, I get really in a rage. She said, every time I see people who walk into a hotel, get a nice hotel bedroom, get a bathroom, and give them money every day to spend. And you can understand the rage that is built up in some areas.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question.
Yeah, agreed.
I think that's it, because the term that we hear constantly now on the radio, it's the economic migrants, isn't it? And I think that's what fuels kind of all of this.
Well, if there's a war in Sudan, how are we going to fix it? How are we going to stop the people who are fleeing a war in Sudan coming here? That's my question.
Absolutely, and one of many, obviously, on this entire topic.